It was a hell of a day for college football on Saturday. It started off with that Red River rivalry, which is a pain in the ass to say in real time, but it started off with Oklahoma's big win over Texas. It finished off with USC and Arizona and whatever the hell you call that from USC trying to win that game in double overtime or triple overtime, whatever it was, and Jed Fish not going for two. And then sort of sprinkled in between there was what the hell was Mario Cristobal doing, handing the ball off instead of taking a knee.
With 30 seconds left.
I don't get it. I don't understand. But Mario Cristobal tried to explain himself afterwards. This was the Miami head coach following the devastating loss.
When the drive started, it was going to be at 157, and we could burn about 127 off, and then it was recalibrated. I should have taken the timeout right there at the end. Thought he could get the first down, and we talked about two hands on the ball, but that's not good enough. Just should have told him to take a knee in. That's it. Fumbled the ball at 25, and they went 75 yards in 2 plays. So I'm not going to make an excuse for it or say you should have done this or that. That's it. We should have done it. Sometimes just get carried away with, hey, just finish the game and run it. But I should have just stepped in and said, hey, just take a knee.
It's the first time it's happened, so there will not be any repeats of that from Mario Cristobal.
Okay. Look, there's always a reason and justification for things. They were trying to get Chaney, the running back, 100 yards. That's the truth. He was at 99 yards. They gave him another carry. He got 4 yards on it, then fumbled.
Boned him.
And that's unfortunately a now teaching point for every coach in America and every team now moving forward. And I know you're making light of it because while he was at Oregon, this happened versus Stanford. They that circumstance was a little different. They had a little more time on the clock. But they could have taken multiple knees then, and instead they gave the ball to C.J. Verdell. He ended up fumbling. Stanford gets the ball back. They take it into overtime, and they ended up actually losing Oregon lost to Stanford in overtime. So in this case, look, I think it was egregious. Their defense couldn't figure out a way of getting a stop on those 2 plays. But what's worse than that is it never should have came to that. And look, that's the rationale for what they were thinking. Obviously, the offensive coordinator is in charge of that. As a head coach, you got to step in and say, "What are we doing? Kneel down
Take
the ball."
A knee. Yeah.
Like that. They play UNC this week. UNC, who's undefeated right now. Drake May is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. That may cost them a shot at the ACC championship game and ultimately a shot at playing in the college football playoff. And even though that was a tight game and, they probably had no business making it that close to Georgia Tech, that's what was at stake. And so now there's zero room for error for Miami moving forward. And they've got to play a really tough opponent in North Carolina this week. That one's just tough to overcome.
If you're a player on that team, like there was a shot of some guy on the sideline. I don't remember who it was, but it was a lineman who was looking around and you could see him mouth, "What the F are we doing?" If you're a player on that team and you come to find out afterwards that the reason you lost that game and a potential opportunity to do big things this season is because you were trying to get your running back 100 yards instead of just winning the game, how the hell is that going to sit with other guys in the locker room? Like, that would piss me off. Because of 1 yard, you had all game to get 100 yards. You had all game to get that extra yard. And because you wanted to try and get 1 extra yard to get him over 100, some statistical number, you cost yourself potentially an opportunity at big things. That's astonishing to me that was the logic.
It was a miss. I don't have much to add to it. Take a knee. Really. There's just not much reasoning, regardless of it's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there as to what the reason would have been behind, what real reason, true reason, media reason, whatever the reason. You should have took a knee. That's what it ultimately comes down to. So it's a miss. It's a miss, and that's a hard way to lose a game. But again, I think you still have to take inventory on the fact that if a coach makes a call and something goes wrong, you have to prepare for immediate, turnover, immediate, changing of possession all week long. Like that's a part of football, is preparing situationally for unexpected turnovers. So again, like you said, Q, I would just double down on the fact that even though it was egregiously bad in terms of just not taking the knee, when they turned the ball over, all you guys had to do was hold for 2 plays. Pretty much 2 plays. It was like 20 seconds left, I think it was.
Yeah, a little more than that.
Yeah, maybe a little more. But it just, I know it's hard to say, okay, well, I don't need to take the blame for what took place because I shouldn't have been put in a position to begin with. And you wouldn't be wrong. But the game is played until the final whistle is blown. And it's a lesson to learn. It's a lesson for the coaching staff, but it's also a lesson for those players. And they could possibly be better off after this game, knowing that, being, that in those situations, maybe we could be more prepared or more accountable to one another, where we don't let a play, become a game changer, for the other team. So I don't know. It could be a positive take out of it, but it just seems like a horrible way for you to, lose your game. I mean, and it's Miami on top of that.
That wasn't the only one, though. I mean, as you touched on, there was some questionable decision-making all across college football. Jonas, you mentioned USC, Arizona.
Oh, my God.
I mean, that game was littered with what the hell are they doing? I'll be honest. I'll be blunt. I can be critical of my alma mater. Marcus Freeman with 9.5 minutes left, they elected to go for it on 4th and 11. When they basically gave Louisville a field goal then, if they don't convert, which they didn't.
And they didn't, yeah.
That was one I looked at. I'm like, it's only an 11-point game. You have plenty of time. Why are you doing this? I mean, I'm not sure what's happening lately. I think I've seen incredible mismanagement down the stretch in games of the clock, and that's at the college level for sure. Some pro level too. And I don't know. That's what is frustrating me watching is I remember there were so many things back when you would come in early for quarterback school, or even back when I was in college with Charlie Weiss. Like I could tell you exactly how much time you have and how many plays you can run. And where I'm trying to think of which game it was where they completed a ball to the running back. And I think it might have been before. I can't remember if it was before half or the end of the game.
Minnesota?
No,
Minnesota was a bad one.
It was Jets-Broncos. It was Zach Wilson at the end of the first half. That happened yesterday.
Maryland had a bad one,
that happened yesterday with them. It was maybe Maryland.
Maryland had a bad
before
one.
half.
It costed them. Yeah.
It cost them 3 points, which at the end of the day ended up not mattering in the game. But Talia threw a ball, and you're going, why? What? I mean, like you literally need to look at a quarterback and say, How was this in any part of our process? The ball has to be out of bounds or in the end zone if you have no time left, or no timeouts left and 12 seconds. Like you can't throw the football anywhere else. We always knew if you had anything less than 16 seconds and no timeout, all right, 16 seconds and no timeout, that's like the quickest amount of time you can run a play and get up and then clock the ball at the line of scrimmage to stop the clock. That is it. If you have to run a field goal unit on out there, we usually said 20 seconds. Like for a Mayday type scenario where you go on 3rd down, you don't have another option. You complete the ball, it's 4th down, you got to kick this thing. It was 20 seconds. But like 16, if you're just talking about trying to get a playoff, get everyone up the line of scrimmage, and then clock it. And so I have no idea how these teams are preparing the quarterbacks and their players in these scenarios, but it is awful. The mismanagement of play calling, decision making, and clock management.